All right, what's up, you dirty motherfuckers? The Masculine Podcast is back. CEO
Yeah,
finally
yeah.
got some Q-tips, cleaned out his ears. You know what I'm saying? My boy had an ear infection, but CEO, tell the people how you feeling, bro.
Feeling great. Back to normal.
You know what I'm saying? People, there was a week of masculinity, but you know what? We're back in action. So,
Yeah, we're back.
without further ado, let's get into the topics. Now, CEO already knows the topics I usually show him, but
Right.
the Hall of Fame game happened. What was it, Thursday?
Yeah.
So the Hall of Fame game happened. No one really gave a fuck. It was Jacksonville versus the Raiders, two irrelevant teams, as you call them, poverty teams.
Yeah. I mean, the Jacksonville is, yeah,
Oh yeah, the Raiders have like four Super Bowls, I think.
like three, I think. Yeah.
Well, they haven't been shit since the '70s. But anyways, here's the problem. It's the Hall of Fame. Now, I don't know if you know who went into the Hall of Fame, but I'm gonna read off the list to you. Sam Mills, if you do you know who that is?
No, I don't know who that is.
Cliff Branch. Do you know who that is?
I think I know who that is.
Tony Burcett.
I know who that is.
Leroy Richardson.
Don't know who that is.
Bryant Young.
I know who that is.
And Richard Seymour, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
So I looked up now. Besides Richard, and I heard of Tony. I only know Leroy because he went to Florida State. But
Right.
besides those guys, and even those guys included, I'm sorry. Listen, Sam Mills. He was a good tackle. Like he was one of those good tackles in the NFL.
Right.
5-time Pro Bowler. I don't know. He had a decent amount of tackles, but when I compared him to Warren Sapp and fucking Mean Joe Green, hell, I even compared his stats to Aaron Donald. And Aaron Donald's not. I think this Sam Mills guy has like 500. Aaron Donald has like 496. So he's gonna break that record if he plays another 3 to 4 years.
Right.
But he's not a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry. Cliff Branch, R.I.P. Cliff Branch. I didn't know I have no idea who this guy was. R.I.P. to him. But he only had, now granted this was back in the 70s, so like they weren't really passing the fucking ball they are now, but
Right.
he's not a Hall of Famer. He had 2 years where he had 1,000 yards.
Right.
He's not. You're putting him in there with Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, Jerry Rice, Calvin, Tony Burcett. Now Tony Burcett was actually a pretty good tackle back in the early 2000s, but he got injured. He only has 5 Pro Bowls. Now, I looked up other great offensive linemen, Anthony Munoz, Larry Allen. What's the guy's name from the Browns? Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
Those guys had like 9, 10, 11 Pro Bowls. Now, I do believe Tony Burcett would have had, 10, 11 Pro Bowls if he didn't get injured. But, I mean, the best ability is availability. It's like I wouldn't put him in there with those offensive linemen. Leroy Richardson. No matter of fact, Leroy Richardson, here's the bullshit. And listen, before anybody comes in the comments, oh, you're a Florida State. Yes, I know I'm a Florida State fan. I like Leroy Richardson. He was an okay safety. Okay safety. I looked up Brian Dawkins, Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, Ronnie Lott. It's not even a fucking comparison. Those guys, that's Hall of Fame right there. Leroy Richardson's not Hall of Fame. He made the Pro Bowl like 3 times. Okay, great. He won a Super Bowl with the Packers. Okay, great. That was Brett Favre's Super Bowl. No one gives a fuck about Leroy Richardson. Like, he was okay. And then Bryant Young, good tackle. Once again, same thing with Sam Mills. Good tackle, but he's not me, Joe Green. He's not fucking Warren Sapp.
Yeah.
And then Seymour, I really have no problem with him going in there. But my whole question is the Hall of Fame becoming a joke now?
All right. Here's the thing with the Hall of Fame, right? Like I would use, if we're talking about Hall of Fames, like I think when you think of joke, I think that's more like the NBA Hall of Fame, where I think that's where people would consider that more of a joke. The NFL was more like, I guess, strict technically, with regards to his inductees. But the thing is that the NFL Hall of Fame is so subjective because they're like you'll have people like, I don't know, like Ray Lewis, right?
Yeah.
go in the Hall of Fame. Like first ballot, that's an all-time great. That's a Hall of Famer. But then you'll have like no-name middle linebackers get in at the same time. So it's kind of one of those things where there's levels to the Hall of Fame, and I don't think people talk about that because I feel like the way you distinguish like a Hall of Fame great is whether they got first ballot or not. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like most people who get first ballot are seen as apart from the others. Like those are definitely guys that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Those are your Mannings, your Ray Lewis, Lawrence Taylor, people that are just like you don't even like they don't even need like a presentation. Like you know who they are. They belong in the Hall of Fame, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but then at the same time, right? You're gonna get people like Bob Hayes. You're gonna get people like Art Monk. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get a lot of people like Harry Carson from the Giants.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna get a lot of obscure names that a lot of people don't know because maybe they were decent, like they were good in that era, like they were really good talents, and they did pretty well during their era. But they're not if you compare them to the premium NFL Hall of Famers, you can't compare them. So that's why I think like the Hall of Fame should have like a tier system. You know what I'm saying? Like to distinguish because you can either do it two ways. You can make tier systems to distinguish like your first ballot Hall of Famers from that guy who took 25, 30 years to get into the Hall of Fame. You know those people? Like
Yeah.
it takes them like 30 years to get
Prime
in.
example, Cliff Branch.
Right, exactly. To get into the fucking Hall of Fame. I'm like, if we need to evaluate your career for 30 years, you should not be in the Hall of Fame. That's one line of thinking.
But that's my point, though. It's a
Right.
joke.
Right. That's exactly what we're getting to. Like, but you have two like that person, right? I think you're of the belief that the Hall of Fame should be an exclusive group and
Yes.
only the
Yes.
elite of the elite should get in.
Yes. Yes. I agree. Yes.
Right.
Because there's
That's one way. And I think the way the NFL is currently handling it is kind of like the NFL is where good, like great players go, but like really, really good players, like the great Hall of Famers go in first. And if you're borderline, we'll consider you like multiple years if we can't find other people to like fill in. Because they always every year they have to have Hall of Famers, right?
no.
You
Well,
don't like every year.
see, let me give you a little history lesson. So it wasn't until
Mhm.
so the Hall of Fame, the NFL Hall of Fame, was probably the best Hall of Fame because they didn't have it every year. It was
Okay.
only for the elite.
Right.
Now, since they, once again, the NFL being the NFL made money off of it. Now it's a fucking, show because they have the Hall of Fame game, they have the presentation, they have this big thing on ESPN. So, aka, they're getting a lot of money for it. Now they have to have one every year.
Okay.
You
So,
have to scrape up guys like
right.
Sam Mill to
But
put
in
in.
the modern, like, so I was when I said that they have one every year, I'm talking about like in the modern sense, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like they have to have right, like they have to have one every year because, like you said, it's all about the money and getting that ad revenue. So
yeah,
we're gonna force in people who shouldn't, like who took 30 years to get in. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're definitely watering down the Hall of Fame. I'll give you that. I mean, um, I'm like, do you think it's like a big deal? Or does it bother you that much?
yeah. It does
It really does.
because it bothers me because we're how can I put this? When you the Hall of Fame is in itself. Now you brought up the NBA Hall of Fame. The NBA Hall of Fame, it's not the NBA Hall of Fame, it's the Basketball Hall of Fame. So
Right.
like, you have like college players who never play in the NBA get in there and shit like that. So it's like two different things. But the NFL Hall of Fame is supposed to be this big thing. It's like these are the cream of the crop. Like these were the guys. Like when they stepped on the field, they were the best player on the field. Now it's just a joke. and I say this as a Giants fan, and I'm pretty. You've been there. One of my favorite Giants, Eli Manning.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry. He's not a Hall of Famer. People are gonna say, well, he won 2 Super Bowls. Okay, yeah, great. He had 2 great years and then 14 years of
Mm-hmm.
being average. Let's be for real. He was average. And even in those two
Eli
Super Bowl wins, he was I think
mediocre.
he wasn't like great. I mean, 2011 he was fantastic towards the end because he had to be, but he's not a Hall of Famer. You're gonna put him in the same room with Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Peyton, his brother. I mean, like, come on. So that's why it bothers me that people like McNabb or
Mm-hmm.
Chad Ochocinco get considered. It's like, what?
Okay.
It's
Listen,
like, go ahead.
when it comes to Manning, like Eli Manning, right? I feel like we all know Manning.
Don't say we. So there's a lot of Giants fans. Oh,
Okay, I mean the majority of sensible football fans know that Eli is going to get in more so because he's a Manning than anything else.
yeah, facts. Yeah.
So that's definitely going to push him in. Because I feel like here's the thing: Manning has been mediocre like the majority of his regular season career. Like he's
Yes.
been mediocre quarterback. He's always been compared to Joe Flacco in the regular season. That's how I know he's mediocre as fuck.
Yeah.
They always been compared together. So my thing is, he's definitely going to get in. He's a Manning, but here's the question: is there a certain, for example, like if Manning got it, like I feel like there is a threshold, right? For example, if you're a quarterback and you win a certain number of Super Bowls, then I feel like you have to probably get it, right?
That's.
So
I mean, but okay, go
okay,
ahead.
for example, if Manning won a third Super Bowl, like would your opinion change?
If he had the same exact career, like say, like he had like 3 great years where he won a Super Bowl,
Hmm.
no, I would still think he's not a Hall of Famer.
Okay, all right. So I feel like this is where the subjectivity plays in because I feel like after there's some people who are going to be like, well, after a certain number of Super Bowl wins, they should be automatically in. Like if you get 3 or more Super Bowls and you're a quarterback and you play the quarterback position, you should be inside the Hall of Fame because that in itself is worthy of getting into the Hall of Fame.
Well,
And
let
then
me
you
just wait. Go ahead.
and then you're going to have other people who are going to say, "All right, championships aren't that important. What matters is that they had elite seasons throughout a long period of time, right?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are two, like some people mix and mash them, but those are two lines of logic. Some people look at the championships, other people look at both, and but some people just look at can. And I feel like, what do you think? What do you prefer? Do you feel like the NFL, like you should rate the NFL Hall of Fame in a way that measures each season individually, and if you had enough great seasons in a row, you should get in, from like you're looking at it more from a long-term perspective?
Well, I wanna go back to what you were saying. I'm gonna answer your question, but
Mm.
don't forget your question. But I understand what you're saying that if Eli Manning had 3 Super Bowls, he should have get in. But here's my thing though, Giants fans, why don't you keep that same energy with Phil Simms? Phil Simms was a better quarterback, won 2 Super Bowls, and won an MVP. Why is he not in the Hall of Fame? Well, let's be for real. And then here's my thing though. If Eli Manning, let's be Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowls, right? Are you
Yeah.
taking him over Dan Marino?
No.
Are you taking him over Rodgers?
No.
You taking him over Brees?
No.
You taking him over Jim Kelly?
No.
Like
Mm,
John Elway?
no.
Like that's my point. Is that when you think of those, besides Eli Manning, when you think of those guys, when they stepped on the field, that's the best player on the field, hands down.
Right.
Those guys were great,
Right.
beyond great,
Like
cream of the crop. Some of
right.
the guys I just named, Rodgers, Brees, Marino,
Right.
Kelly. I mean, I know you say you're kind of iffy on Kelly, but I would probably take Kelly over Eli.
I mean,
Those guys. Go ahead.
when I remember, it's like every time you got to play Rogers, um you're like, fuck, we got to play Rodgers next week. I don't think people ever said, fuck, we got to play Eli Manning.
That's my point, though. Or matter of fact, Kurt Warner, Eli Manning.
Oh, Kurt Warner, definitely.
Or matter of fact, listen, Mahomes or Eli?
Mahomes.
Russell Wilson or Eli?
Russell Wilson.
It's like these guys, when they step on the field, it's like that's the best player on the field, hands down.
Yep.
That's the Eli Manning doesn't give you that. But those 2 Super Bowls, especially against the GOAT, Tom Brady, that puts him above it. And then especially since his name is Manning, it's like people over hype him and overrate him. And it's like, let's look at the stats. From 2011 to 2019, the guy lost 68 games.
Right.
Dude had double losing seasons. Trust me, CEO, I fucking watched it personally. I'm like, Eli, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you can't have a 4-year stretch where you were good to great. 2 years you were great, other years you were good, and then just be garbage for the first half of your career to the end of your fucking career. I'm sorry, that's not like when you think of Brady, Brees, Manning. I know Manning got washed up in 2015, but he was the majority. Like, these guys were just beyond great. These guys were like CEO. If you were building a quarterback, are you going to build him more like Peyton Manning, or are you going to build him more like Eli?
I mean, obviously Peyton.
Like, this is what I'm talking about. And this is not me bashing on Eli. This is just like with the Hall of Fame guys I just named off earlier. These guys were good players, but they're not cream of the crop Hall of Fame. My thing is, we don't need to have a Hall of Fame every year. We need to, whenever the great players come in, say like you have like Peyton Manning, like last year when they had Peyton and Palomalu and Calvin, they all waited for those guys. That was perfect. All those guys are deserving.
Right.
Sam Mills, Cliff Branch, Bryant Young. Like when your proud name, when your like superstar name is Richard Seymour, the fucking Hall of Fame is shit.
Yeah, I mean, the only people I would probably say I'd be okay with in that class were Richard Seymour and maybe like Brian Young. Like, apart from that, I would and
even Richard Seymour, when you compare him to like, I mean, I'm not really mad that he's in because he has a lot of accolades, but when you compare him to Warren Sapp and fucking me, Joan Green, Aaron Donald's gonna pat, like, it's no comparison.
Right. I feel like, because that's where I feel like there's levels to the Hall of Fame.
But it shouldn't be, though. Like, it's like CEO, let's be for real. Like, these guys, like, if you didn't make it on your first ballot, your stats are still going to be the fucking same. Nothing's changed. What's the difference between the year before and the year after?
You know what's the difference? The people you go in with. That's the difference. So if I have to, if I can't make it in the same year with, let's say, a Palomalu, Peyton Manning, and a Calvin Johnson, but I can make it in the same year with the Sam Mills, a Brian Young. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you get in depending on if they have enough people that year. That's kind of what it is.
So at that point, it's not the Hall of Fame. That's my point. It's not a Hall of Fame. It's if you can't get in with the top tier guys, with the cream of the crop guys, you have to go in with a lower tier of guys. You and that group of lower tier guys shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. You guys weren't fucking good. Well, I mean, you guys weren't. You're not Hall of Fame qualified. I'm sorry, you're not.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only logical reason I would see anybody waiting 30 years to get someone inside the Hall of Fame.
You waited 30 fucking years, dude. Give it up. Like, it's like the Hall of and you spoke about the NBA or the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's gonna get there soon. We're gonna see McNabb's gonna get in there. Chad Ochocinco, he's sucking up to the NFL. He's gonna get in there. Alex Smith might get in there. Matt Ryan is gonna get in there. It's gonna Phillip Rivers. He's gonna go in. If Stafford now, I mean, I know Stafford just won the Super Bowl, but I mean,
and here's the thing, right? It's just like there are still levels to like the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? Like, because, for example, okay, let's take an elite. Let's take let's say All right, let's say it like this. All right, is Julio Jones a Hall of Famer?
Uh, you talk. I'm actually gonna look up his stats.
Okay, most people would say Julio Jones is a Hall of Famer, right? Most
Yeah.
people, but he's not on the same level as Jerry Rice, right? Like he's not on the same level as Randy Moss. He's not that, but he's still like exceptionally good. So that's what I'm talking about. There's levels to the Hall of Fame. Like people will be like, yeah, Julio's definitely good enough to get in, but that doesn't make him like on the same tier as a Randy Moss, uh, like Terrell Owens. It doesn't make him on the same tier as those guys, but he's definitely deserving of getting in. You know that kind of. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'm still looking up his stats.
so it's like there's levels to it. Like who most people would say, like yeah, Julio's definitely in, but it's like he's not going to be.
Well, hold up. I'll play devil's advocate here.
All right.
Okay, Julio and Jerry. You're taking Jerry, but here's the thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
Julio is the Jerry Rice of this era.
Okay.
He was dominant for this era. That's why I would put him in. I'm looking at his stats. Yeah, he's definitely a fucking Hall of Famer. Just
Right.
these fucking stats. Like when you like prime example, CEO. We grew up in the Julio Jones era. Who are you taking, Julio or Julian Edelman?
Yeah, Julio.
Julio or I don't know who. Keenan Allen.
Yeah, Julio definitely.
Yeah, so like if you want to like say like you like prime example, you're like Randy Moss and Jerry Rice didn't play in the same era, but you're taking Jerry though. But
Yeah.
Randy Moss he was the fucking Jerry Rice of his era. So for your
Right.
era, you have to be like Julio stepped on the field, you're like that's the best, or at least you said that's the best receiver on the field, hands down.
Yeah, until Calvin Johnson left. Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about on the field or whoever he played.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like even with like a Julio, me personally, Antonio Brown, his stats, and I always thought Antonio Brown was the best receiver until he went loco. But Antonio
Oh
Brown,
yeah. Like
go ahead.
he's a Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah, they're Hall of Famers because they dominated their era. They're like that. You game plan for that. You're not game playing for Julio. I mean, you're not game playing for Julian Edelman or fucking I don't fucking know who's another average receiver. I don't fucking know. Or can you fucking name one? Uh, or like Kelvin Benjamin. You're not game playing for Kelvin Benjamin. Like you know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, it's just like there are receivers that weren't like the top of their like weren't the top 5 every year, right?
Yeah.
But they were like the top 7 every year for like 10, 12 years. Like that there is something to that, right? Like I feel like that's where there's levels to that shit. Because if you get for example, let's say you're not the best every year, right? You're not top 3, but you crack like 1,000 yards for like 12 seasons. Like people are going to like. There is something about longevity. You don't have to be like the best, but if you're really, really good for a very long time, that probably gets you enough to get in the Hall of Fame.
But that's my problem. The Hall of Fame is not for good players. It's for great players. That's where the disconnect is happening. Is that like the simple fact that people argue Julian Edelman should be in the Hall of Fame is a fucking joke. It's a joke. You're gonna put him in with Randy Moss, Jerry Rice.
No, I mean, I feel like 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 Edelman isn't a Hall of Fame receiver. He's not, obviously. Like that's
But people argue that shit. That's the problem. That's the where I'm
it's
saying.
because of his like what playoff record, like playoff
Yeah, I
success.
guess he's like has the second most yards to like Jerry or some shit.
Right. It's like, and that's another thing. Some people think that those kind of achievements merit the Hall of Fame. Right. So
Yeah.
we haven't defined exactly like what's every aspect of getting into the Hall of Fame. Like we haven't defined that. Like, okay, you were super dominant. Like you were number 1, number 2, number 3. Like, where's the cutoff line? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of people would say if you were really, really good for a very long time, that should be enough.
But that's my. You keep saying good or decent, but you
I'm not
good.
decent, like really, really good.
But even good, that's not great. Like that's
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
not great, but if you do it for long enough, does that make you great?
No, it doesn't. It makes you good for a very long time. Chad Ochocinco is very good. Is he a Hall of Famer?
I don't think so.
Tony Romo was very good. Is he a Hall of Famer?
No, he's not a Hall of Famer.
That's my point. They were very good for a long time. Well, Romo, what was it?
I don't know if he was very good for a long time though.
Romo,
Romo was like he had elite seasons and then he was above average.
Donovan McNabb was good for a long time. Like Alex Smith was very good.
Yeah, Alex Smith was good for a good time, like a long time.
He's not a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry.
No, he's not a Hall of Famer.
Carson Palmer, before he started having back problems, was very good for a long time.
Right.
And now that these stats, and even, it's going to even get worse. Go ahead.
Here's the perfect example, right? Phillip Rivers was very, very good for a long time.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, that's a great example. He's not a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry. No, he's not.
Yeah, he's.
But he's gonna get in though.
He's probably because Phillip Rivers is one of those people that like he was like very, very good for a very, very long time, but I don't think he deserves to get in.
That's my point, but that's where we're going, especially now with an extra game and all these stat assholes, these like analytics and throwing the ball 500 times a game and shit. Mm-hmm. But there's going to be so much inflation of the game that we're going to have like guys who are average going to the Hall of Fame. It's like, no, that's not greatness.
Yeah, and I think like because of the stats, because of the numbers, right? We overlook very important aspects of the game, right? So because of the numbers, because I think Phillip Rivers had some crazy numbers, right? So
yeah, he does.
Because of the stats, people are like, oh, look at these stats. They're so fucking great. That means he was elite. I don't think Phillip Rivers was elite.
No.
You know what I'm saying? He was really, really good. He wasn't elite, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And that if you and just this is where the whole stats and bullshit comes in, right? Because a part of being elite is a combination of playing well in the regular season and having playoff success. Right?
Yes.
You can't be like one, or you need both in order to be great. And
with awards and dominance.
Right. For example, look at this nigga Justin Herbert, right? Even though it's early, right?
Yeah.
Justin Herbert has great ass numbers for the first 2 seasons, right?
Yeah.
People already putting him top 3 in the league.
Wasn't he drafted 19? Yeah, he was drafted 19. No, was he? What year was he drafted? He only had 2 years?
Yeah, he only had like 2 years.
He didn't come in with Murray? Oh, no, he didn't. He didn't come in with Murray. Okay, so yeah, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. Though.
Right, he had like 2 years. Look at all these lists. Like I looked at so many of them.
In Discourse.
Right, yeah, and that's not the only one. I looked through so many lists. People are like, yeah, Justin Herbert's elite. He's like top 5, top 3. I'm like, no, absolutely not. People have Justin Herbert ahead of Russell Wilson. Absolutely not.
No.
Like, no. People don't understand. Like, yes, Justin Herbert's numbers are good, right? They're great. But guess what? He has no playoff success.
Yeah, like Russ.
Right. Yeah, exactly. He has no playoff success. Yeah, he's really good. Like, people, like, the majority of people put Justin Herbert over like a Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson beat him. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, Justin Herbert has the potential to be elite, right?
Yeah.
He definitely has potential to be top 3. I agree with that, but you can't put him in. And this is where the stats and numbers go in. And this, as it relates to the Hall of Fame, people will look at Phillip Rivers' numbers and be like, "Oh, that's elite numbers, so therefore he should go into the Hall of Fame." I'm like, no, that's not how it works. That's not how it should work. It's a combination of regular season success and playoff success for a very long time for a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So it's a combination. So that's why Eli had great playoff success.
Yes.
He had shit
for 2 years. For 2 years, yes.
For 2 years, right? Yeah, great. His numbers are pretty good. Joe Flacco's numbers are great in the playoffs, but
Yes.
his regular season was trash. So I'm pretty sure Nick Foles has fantastic postseason records.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's a Hall of Famer.
No, not at all.
No, I mean, here's the thing, right? That's why I think it's a success. Now, there's few exceptions to the rule, right? Like you could take someone like Dan Marino, who has 0 Super Bowls, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And he's still in the Hall of Fame, but that's an exception to the rule only because he was so good in the regular season. He was so good and he did it for such a long time that people are like, okay, like he was elite. He was like elite for the majority of every single regular season, and he did have playoff success. He just didn't win it.
Yeah, I mean, like Dan Marino, when he stepped on the field, he was the best quarterback either in the playoffs or in the regular season. That's not even a question. The guy
Right.
was going for 4,000 yards, multiple time MVP. Like come
Yeah.
on.
Right. Regular season. That's what I said. Like being regular seasons awards matter a lot. MVPs matter a lot because MVPs are what would make you like an MVP is basically saying you're the best player in the league
Yes.
at that given time. So the you have to have a combination of both. So I do agree with you that I feel like the NFL is they don't really care. I don't think they give a fuck about the Hall of Fame. They really don't.
Unless it's
Like
making them money.
yeah, it's only about the money. They don't really give a fuck about it. They don't like the players care a lot about it. Maybe the fans care a lot about it, but the NFL as a business, like the owners, the commissioner, they don't give a fuck about it. That's
And
clear.
but that's my point though, is that like you don't need to have a Hall of Fame every year. But once again, the NFL being the money hungry company that I think we talked about last week with the whole, flags and fantasy football, they want the money. They have this big Hall of Fame game. It's their first preseason game. They have this big presentation on ESPN and ABC and shit. So they're gonna start scraping guys who are good,
Yeah,
but they don't deserve to be on the same level with these
right.
great Hall of Fame. It's like the Hall of Fame should be a point where it's like, I forgot who brought this up, but it's like when you think of somebody and you're like Hall of Fame, yes or no? Yeah, like no question. Yeah, Jerry Rice, yes.
Yeah,
Peyton Manning, yes.
yeah.
Brady, yes. Rodgers, yes. Then you have a guy like Jason Witten who was very good, but I mean,
If you go, I think a lot of people would say Jason Witten deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
no, I'm sorry, no. He
Like
was
a
very
lot.
good.
I'm talking about the majority of the people though. Like
But
I feel like
CEOs, let's be for real. Antonio Gates or Jason Witten?
I would take in their prime, right?
Yes, both in their prime.
I would take Antonio Gates.
Tony Gonzalez or Jason Witten?
Yeah, Tony Gonzalez.
Or hell, Travis Kelce, Jason Witten.
Oh yeah, Travis Kelce.
Or George Kittle or Jason Witten.
George Kittle.
Like Jason Witten, and trust me, he was great against my Giants all the fucking time. He always used to break my fucking heart.
He's borderline.
But that's my point. It's a simple fact that you have to think about it. Like, Jason Witten was very good. Very fucking good. But he's not Shannon Sharp. He's not Tony Gonzalez. Who else is he's not Kellen Winslow Sr. in his day. Like, come on now. He's not Rob Gronkowski.
No, fuck no.
Like,
no, he was a slow ass tight end that had great hands.
yeah, he was very. I'm not talking about like because Gronk was slow and not all these. But it's like he was a very good tight end, but he's not a Hall of Fame tight end. He just wasn't. When you compare him to the other Hall of Fame tight ends like Shannon Sharp, Kellen Winslow Sr., Rob Gronkowski when he gets in, fucking who else did I fucking say? Tony Gonzalez, he's in there. Like he wasn't that guy. I'm sorry, he wasn't.
You have to. It's for example, right? It has to be relative, right? So, all right, let's say this, right? There's not a lot of phenomenal like tight ends in NFL history, right? So if you take all the tight ends in NFL history, like, and you put Jason Witten, like Jason Witten starts to look good in comparison, right?
Yes.
Because you
Yes.
got Tony Gonzalez. Yeah, we mentioned Kellen Winslow. Uh,
Senior.
okay, who maybe like
Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp, maybe Dave Casper, but that's so old.
I have fucking no idea what it is.
Rob Gronkowski, Mike Ditka,
Mike Ditka, yeah, he's another one. Yup.
Antonio Gates,
Antonio Gates, yeah.
Ozzy.
Ozzy, yup. Your boy.
Who the fuck is better than him out of those? Like, we take those guys out. Who's better than him?
I mean, I would take all of them over Jason.
Yeah, I would take them all. That's super. If you take all those guys over him, he's still like in the top 10.
But I mean,
all time.
That's a very good. But when you look at his career, like, he was very good.
Right. But but here's the thing, though. That's what I'm saying. The position at tight end lacks that. Like, you don't get a Rob Gronkowski type figure in the NFL. Like, it's kind of like multi-generational talent, right?
Yeah.
So that's why Jason Witten's going to get in, because apart from the guys I mentioned, who else is better than Witten? Greg Olsen? No, Greg Olsen isn't better than Jason Witten.
I mean, if Travis Kelce and George Kittle continue their career, they will be, but it's still pretty early.
Right.
Not Mark Ingram. Andrew, what's my man's name? The one that plays for you, Mark Andrews. There we go.
Oh yeah, if those three continue their, I mean, it's too early right now. But if they continue their, not, I mean, for Mark Andrews, it's too early right now. But Kelsey's old as shit, so he's probably already ahead of him.
Well, he already got the Super Bowl too.
Right. So, but that means, let's say this: if you are top 15 at your position all time, I think
Dallas Clark or Jason Witten.
Jason Witten
over Dallas Clark.
Yes, over Dallas Clark. Absolutely.
Continue what you were saying.
Right. If you're top 15 in your position all the time, does that merit Hall of Fame status? I feel like at that position.
But that goes back to my point: is that Hall of Fame is not for everybody. It's supposed to be for the cream of the crop guys.
Right. But if you're top 15 out of like thousands of players throughout history, that is elite.
That's not elite. That just means the fucking position that you play is so fucking god awful that, you know, it's just you're top 15. But I mean,
right. But you're looking at it from like if you're looking at it from a statistical standpoint, right? If you're just looking at it from that, you take the thousands upon thousands of tight ends that have been in the league in history, and Jason Witten manages to be in the top 15 tight ends list. Like, statistically speaking, that's just like less than 1%. That has to be elite statistically, right?
That's my point. Statistically, he statistically great. Was he great in the regular season? Was he great?
I mean, yeah, there were seasons where he was great. Yes.
What about in the playoffs? Was he a dominant force in the playoffs?
No, I mean, no, I wouldn't say he was a dominant force in the playoffs.
All right, so there goes right there. And people are gonna be like, well, he plays tight end. Okay, great. But Larry Fitzgerald was great in the playoffs. Terrell Owens was great in the playoffs, and they had some shitty ass fucking quarterbacks. When you look at their playoff stats, it's like, oh my god.
Right, but I feel like there is a valid argument. Like, a lot of people, if you look at it by position, because I feel like, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like that's what the NFL does. They look at it by position.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys that are letting in, they're like top 20, maybe top 25 of their positions all time.
But that's
and they're looking at it from a statistical aggregate. So that means they are elite based on everyone you're comparing them to. They're elite. They're generally elite. Now, there's degrees of how elite you are, right? So this is why I feel like this is the NFL's perspective. That's the only logical, in my opinion, reason that the NFL would let.
Bro, it's either you're elite or you're not elite. Jason Witten, very good. He's not elite.
Right. But that's my thing. It depends on your definition of elite. Like,
elite
some people
is a guy, like, he has the stats, he has the awards, he has He was consistent. He has the playoff success. Even if his team lost, if he was like a contributing factor, like Terrell Owens lost in the Super Bowl, but the guy had like 139 yards with like 10 receptions. So like it wasn't his fault that they fucking lost.
Right.
Fucking they need to have the playoff success. Like Jason Witten, he wasn't that guy. Phil Rivers wasn't that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like Phil Rivers has great stats, but I mean when we watched him play, he wasn't like. Were you scared of Philip? Like, come on, dude.
No, that's what I'm saying. But if you look at any, if you talk to any NFL player, right?
Yeah,
they're gonna say Jason Witten is a Hall of Famer.
I never heard that.
Yes, if you ask any NFL player right now, they're gonna say Jason Witten was a Hall of Fame. You ask the majority of the NFL fans, they're gonna say Jason Witten was a Hall of Famer.
Well, I mean, no disrespect. I mean, the players, they're not the smartest people on the earth. We both know.
I mean, they aren't. I agree with you. They aren't. But I'm just saying, like, he'll get in. We both know he'll get in.
Yeah, he's getting in. No, it's just the fact that I just think the NFL is just becoming a joke. It's gonna be It's gonna be like the NBA 2.0.
If we only let it to elite tight ends, right?
Yeah.
Like elite tight ends that we feel were groundbreaking, that only leaves what, like
all the guys you mentioned before.
7, 8 all time?
Yeah, but I'm fine with that because those guys were groundbreaking. That's the point of the Hall of Fame.
Right, but people,
not good guys.
Right. They're like, because you're only gonna get Tony, you're gonna get Rob, Kellen, Gates,
Sharp.
You're gonna get Sharp, Kelsey. You're gonna get Ozzy,
Mike
Dicka. Apart from those guys, maybe Kittle and Andrews, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But right now it's only like 8 guys, so maybe 8, 9 guys.
I'm fine because those guys, when they stepped on the field, he's a fucking problem. Jason Witten wasn't that. He wasn't even like Travis Kelce. The simple fact that people talk about Travis Kelce like he was a number 1 option to Tyreek Hill. Mm-hmm. Jason Witten was never that. Terrell Owens was better than him. Terrell Owens, he's a dominant force. Fucking Dez Bryant back in his prime was a dominant force. Like, he was a good player. Not great, though. He doesn't deserve to go to the Hall of Fame. He's going to get in, but this is not a fact that they're going to, like, we know Eli's getting in. We know Jason Witten is going to get in. It's not, we're not debating if they are going to get in. We're debating the fact, should they get in? I don't think no. I think you need to be cream of the crop. You were the best player on the field, or best player on the field, hands down.
All right, so I'm trying to look up what exactly, because maybe we're wrong, right? Maybe we're wrong. And okay, let's look, because I want to look at the definition, or what was the original concept of the NFL Hall of Fame, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Word by word. So I have 2 definitions, right?
All right.
One of them says the purpose of the NFL Hall of Fame at the time it was created was to remember and celebrate true legends of the game and the greatest of all time.
Okay. And then what's the second definition?
The second definition is is to honor the best of the best in the NFL. So basically elite.
Okay, and
so we're correct.
I kind of like the first one better than the second definition, but even that, was Jason Witten the best of the best in the NFL?
No, he wasn't.
Was Phillip Rivers the best of the best?
No, he wasn't. Like if you use the definition that, like if you use the original purpose of the NFL and you say, all right, now we got to take the elite of the elite. That means that even the best of the best, right?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, if you want to use, that's strict, because if you're saying elite of elite, that's only a handful of people.
That's what the Hall of Fame is, though. That's my point. Like, you understand where I'm coming from? Right.
So technically, there should be barely, maybe below 100 people all time.
Well, when you include like all
positions, I'm talking about.
Yeah, it'd probably be. I think they'll pass 1,000. I think they'll pass it. Well, Yeah, I think it will pass 1,000. But even if you want to say there's I'm fine with that because the Hall of Fame, like you said, CEO, the true legends of the game, true legends of. They said true, not the legends of the game, the true legends of the game. That's my point. It's supposed to be an exclusive. This is like the Hall of Fame should be like these are the guys that you're telling your kids about. Like people are going to tell their kids about Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Is anybody going to tell their kids about Phillip Rivers?
No.
Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan?
No.
You know those guys are getting in, right?
Oh, if they get in, it loses credibility, in my opinion.
Matt Ryan's getting in. Look at his stats. He won an MVP. Matthew Stafford, I think we were talking about it.
Right, and this is our point, right? This is our point. Elite, it's hard to quantify, right?
Yeah.
Because Matthew Stafford and Matt Ryan have fucking tremendous numbers.
Yes, very good.
So if I only look at the papers and I never watched football in my life, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, they're getting in. Absolutely. Not even a fucking question. But if I actually watch the game, right, as I have, I'm like, fuck no. They're not. Because absolutely no one was scared of there was no fear in playing Matt Ryan.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Like people mocked him for the last 5 years have been mocking because he chokes.
And like even then, people were like, he can't win a playoff game.
Matthew Stafford was being ridiculed before last year. He was being ridiculed as stat padding. That's all. So we can't let. So this is the thing. The NFL should be for groundbreaking generational talent.
NFL Hall of Fame, you mean?
Right. I mean, yeah, the NFL Hall of Fame should be for groundbreaking generational talent that changed the game.
Yes.
Anything, yeah, you can be great. You can put up a lot of numbers, but that's not saying much.
Yeah, you could be good. You put up a lot of numbers, but you could be good.
Right. People had to fear you. People had to fear you anytime you stepped on the field. And that was and if you look at Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan, that wasn't the case. Like you can already tell if you watch football, you know when Patrick Mahomes steps on the field, you're afraid.
Yes. Aaron Rodgers, Brady, right. I mean,
when Justin Herbert steps on the field, I'm not afraid.
Yeah, not yet, but you're not
yet. Not yet. It is a little bit too early, but
hell, let's see, like Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as afraid as before, but I'm a little afraid. I'm
afraid because of his legs.
Yeah, but I mean, like
that's gonna fuck. With Lamar, it's different. Like, because I'm afraid of him for a different reason. So it's not like.
Yeah, but I want to see him this year. I hope he has a bounce back year. But if Lamar can get better at throwing, you're gonna fear Russell Wilson. If he comes back healthy this year, you're gonna fear him.
Yeah, I'm afraid of him. I'm not afraid of. I hate so many lists that have Kirk Cousins at the top 10.
You're not afraid of Kirk Cousins.
No one's afraid of Kirk. Kirk Cousins is a meme.
Or fucking Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr. Oh my god.
Yeah, okay, I hate this, right? Because Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins are some of the most overrated fucks I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like the fact, I'm not saying Derek Carr's a bad quarterback. I don't think he is.
Fuck Derek Carr.
I don't think he is a bad quarterback. But this man sneaks in like at the top 10, just like Kirk Cousins sometimes puts in like 11, 12. I'm like, why? These guys are like 15 at best.
Yeah, they're average to slightly above average. Nothing special.
Right. I mean, fuck. I mean, I feel like honestly, Kirk Cousins is a glorified Jimmy Garoppolo with a worse postseason record.
And horrible fucking primetime games.
Right. So I don't get. So yeah, I do agree with you. Like the NFL, it should be sacred.
My point exactly. Yeah.
The NFL Hall of Fame should be sacred.
I'd rather the Hall of Fame be more strict than more lenient.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because it's like Kirk Cousins. Like you brought up Kirk Cousins, I forgot all about that asshole. He puts up good numbers. He might put up
some good numbers. Yeah,
like he might put up better numbers than Troy Aikman. Are you taking Kirk Cousins over Troy Aikman?
Fuck no.
It's like Oh my god.
Kirk Cousins, there are probably seasons where Kirk Cousins played better than Tom Brady. I'm pretty sure you can find a season where that doesn't mean he's better.
Probably 2019 when Brady had like fifth stringers as number one, number two guys, and then Kirk Cousins had like Adam Thielen and fucking
Right.
Justin Jefferson, and he was putting up all these
Right.
numbers. But no
And
one's
there right. And there are like I think quarterbacks right now where we can't even like they're question marks, right? Like Lamar Jackson is kind of a question mark in terms of being afraid of him, right?
yeah.
Like you kind of are I feel like Deshaun Watson's in that area too, where you're kind of afraid of him, but
Yeah.
so we need more play out of him. I feel like we need
Yeah.
more.
So like Lamar, I still
Herbert,
fear Deshaun because Deshaun wasn't bad when he was on the field the last time. It's just like we have to see him now after a year of not playing.
right?
That probably scares me.
He wasn't. No, he was good. But his record was shit.
Yeah,
So
but it was with the fucking Texans. It wasn't his fault. I mean, he did carry the Texans to like 3 straight playoff wins, and then they got rid of
we
D-Hop.
gotta see him. Like he has a good team now. So we're after the suspension's over,
Yeah,
we can evaluate him for real. If he's still stinking up the joint, and with all the weapons he has in Cleveland, then I can pretty much say that he's
yeah,
somewhere in the Kirk Cousins camp.
yeah. Fucking Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. We need to see more of them.
Yeah,
They're
we need to see
question
more of
marks.
them. I mean, they have great
Kyler Murray,
potential.
he's another one.
Murray, yeah, they're question marks. Yeah, they're all question marks. Yeah.
But when you think of the guys that you fear, Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers,
Rodgers.
Russ, I feel like Russ wasn't bad when he was on the field. It's just he got injured those couple other
Right,
games.
and not only that, Russell Wilson is kind of being disrespected as of lately
Yeah,
because I feel like people are just deranking him so far down the list, and I'm like, he's still like I'm like he's still scary just because Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl last year doesn't mean he's not like he's automatically like more terrifying than facing off against Russell Wilson. Like, but yeah, but we gotta see.
So last year he went 6-8. Once again, he was injured for like 3-4 games.
Right.
Still had over 3,000 yards and 25 touchdowns and 6 interceptions with a completion percentage of 64.
Right.
So like that's like, I mean, the guy, he was injured for 3-4 games. Keep in mind. So he would have probably thrown for over 30. He would have probably passed 4,000 yards. They probably would have been a wild card or been 9-8.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's with Seattle. So not Seattle, with Denver.
Broncos, yeah.
So we're gonna see. But it's like finally, like Matthew Stafford, very good quarterback.
Yeah, very good quarterback.
You put him in there with Joe Theismann, Dan Marino. Like, come on, bro. Like, no, I'm sorry. Like, now, if he goes off and wins like 3-4 more Super Bowls and wins an MVP, okay, he shuts me the fuck up. But is that, the guy, how old is he? He has to be at least like 30 something.
Yeah, he's like 32.
Yeah, he came in with Flacco. Didn't him, Flacco, and Ryan come in at the same time?
I think they did similar time. It was a similar era.
He's in that age group. I give him credit. He actually won a Super Bowl, but he's not a Hall of Famer. He was good. I'm not a Hall of Famer.
No, I mean not by the traditional definition of the Hall of Fame. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's like no one's telling their kids about Matthew Stafford unless you're a Lions fan.
No,
this about fucking Matthew Stafford.
This version of the Hall of Fame, yeah, he's definitely a Hall of Fame.
But that's my point. It's becoming, well, I think it's a joke already, but the other question is, do you think it's going to become a joke like the NBA?
Yes. Absolutely.
But it starts off that, like, they're starting to put these so, like, Donovan McNabb, like, the way Donovan McNabb's going to go in, Ocho Cinco's going to go in, fucking Alex Smith fucking might even go in.
Nah,
because if you look at his stats, he was good, but, no one, and me and CEO can contest this, we watch Alex Smith, no one feared him.
No.
I think he had, like, the worst rookie year ever.
No, he was a pain in the ass, like, but he wasn't, like, he wasn't feared, no.
He wasn't even a pain in the ass. He was just there.
No, I mean, his dinking dunking was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, but once, like, Yeah, that is true. If you're like a team that doesn't have like a very good defense, it might be a pain in the ass if you can't stop it.
Right.
But let me ask you: do you think Big Ben's a Hall of Famer?
I'd say yeah.
I'll put him in.
Yeah, I'd say yeah. Only because because every time like when he was in his prime, he was definitely like top 5.
Oh God, he was in MVP conversations.
Right. So yeah, he's definitely, and he has the rings, and yeah, he's definitely in.
You think Drew Brees?
Yes, because he was dominant. Right.
Yeah.
He has a Super Bowl, and I mean he had regular season. He was a dominant regular season quarterback, and he had postseason success. Yes, I would say.
Yeah, it's like I mean I know those guys don't have the MVPs like some of the other quarterbacks, but I mean those guys you feared them when they stepped on the field. No
Here's the
matter.
thing, though. It's just like it's hard to because there's some people that are going to be like, I know there's some people like if they ever come across this podcast, they're going to be like, yeah, but Matthew Stafford technically has better numbers than Drew Brees, and he has the Super Bowl, so they're like those analytics people are going to like what they're going to do, right?
Yeah,
Unless you watch the game, there's something called like there's an it factor, right?
yeah,
Like there's this aura, there's this special thing that you can only watch when you see that in a play. When you see Drew Brees played, even though he only got one Super Bowl, right?
yeah.
He didn't get too many MVPs or at all. I don't know.
No, he didn't get any.
He
He
didn't
was in
get any, right?
conversations though, but he never got one.
But he was elite. Like that's the
Yeah.
difference. Like you don't like maybe because the way passing football is, like I'm pretty sure that a lot of people probably there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks in the future that are going to break like John Elway's records and stuff like that.
Yeah, especially with the 17th game, and now there's
Right.
going to be an 18th game soon.
Right, but that John Elway was elite. Like you just watch it, Dan Marino, their records, like it was mind blowing what Dan Marino did in his time.
Yes.
Given this man had Patrick Mahomes numbers back in an era that
football.
Right, exactly. Back in the era. So that's incredible. You can imagine him playing in like today.
He might put up 6,000 yards.
Right, like it's crazy. So that's how there's some when assessing a Hall of Fame candidate, yeah, you have to look at regular season, you have to look at preseason, but there's also something special that you can only watch.
Yes.
It's not in the numbers. It's not in in the highlight. It's in you have to watch them. You actually have to sit down and actually have watched games of them, like to fully understand why they're elite. I feel like that's a special factor that a lot of people don't like consider.
I feel like like not just like just football fans, sports fans.
Right.
It's like when you look at not to take it off topic, but like when you look at someone like an Allen Iverson.
Right.
And let's not say Allen Iverson. Matter of fact, look at someone like a Russell Westbrook. When he retires, he's probably have the most triple doubles.
Right.
All this other shit.
Right.
And you watch them. He's not Magic. He's not.
No.
He's not Stockton.
Right. Exactly. And that's the listen. Right. That's the
not even Curry.
Right. That's the it factor. Right. That's what I'm talking about. You take Russell Westbrook. You don't watch any of his games. You take his numbers. Right.
Yeah.
You only take his numbers and all that kind of shit. And yeah, he had some postseason success. He didn't win a ring, but he had some postseason success.
Yeah.
You look at all that and you're like, yeah, this guy was definitely one of the best point guards like ever.
You're talking about someone who didn't watch the game.
Right, who didn't watch the sport. They just look at numbers, look at his awards, and look at some postseason. Like you look at all those three and you're like, yeah, this guy's probably even better than I don't know.
Magic.
He's better than Chris Paul, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You look at you're like, oh yeah, he's definitely better than Chris Paul. And I'm like, no, but if you look at the game, you're like, no, he's not better than Chris Paul.
At all.
At all. He could literally have everything better than Chris Paul. But unless you watch the game, you will not know that he's actually a lot worse.
Way low. And this is
Right.
we're talking about even prime Westbrook, OKC Westbrook.
Right. We're talking about prime. So this is why a lot of people, I'm like, this is why statistics, you have to watch the games. If you don't watch the games, if you don't know about the players, you can't just go off of statistics. And that's what a lot of people do. Because you know why? They don't want to watch the games. That's the reason they just look at the numbers. And most of the people in the media, right, who decide who goes into the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
you think a lot of them are spending every single, like, watching all the games before they make their decisions? No. They probably tell their assistant to like go get Russell Westbrook stats. Let me look at all his awards.
Yeah.
And okay, yeah, that looks good on paper. Okay, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. That's probably what they do.
I mean, yeah, that is.
I doubt that you like all these sports, because the people who decide the Hall of Fame are the sports media, right?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is a fucking horrible decision. Like, it's so stupid.
Facts. Yeah.
But they are the ones that decide it. I highly doubt that Nick Wright, Colin Cowherd, all these they don't watch every single game. Absolutely not. Impossible. They don't watch every single game. They don't watch every single player. They don't know what do they do? Okay, assistant, go who won. Look down the numbers. Give me the rundown real quick, because I got a show at 10 o'clock and I have to
get my coffee while you're at it too.
Right, exactly. And give me the numbers, and yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Like, I don't like, that's what they do, and those are the people that pick in the Hall of Fame. And that's why, not only because of the league wanting to make money, but those people fuck up like the decisions of who gets in.
But that's my point, is that if you have the Hall of Fame every like 5 to 7 years,
right,
they have to watch the games at that point. They can't just go off of numbers. You have to actually sit down. It's not like, okay, Hall of Fame's coming up next year, give me the stats. All right, next year Hall of Fame, give me the stats.
Right.
Now you actually have time to actually watch it. And then Nick Wright, the same guy who has Michael Jordan at 3, Kareem at 2, and LeBron at 1.
Right.
He shouldn't be, no one in his category should be fucking picking.
Right. He shouldn't. But he gets to pick.
Doesn't Chris Broussard get NBA Hall of Fame vote?
Yeah, Chris Broussard also gets to pick.
Like, that dude's a clown. Rob Parker, I think he gets an MLB Hall of Fame pick.
Yeah, but we know Parker, we know Chris Broussard, we know Nick Wright. We see how intellectually deficient they are.
Yeah.
And these are the people making decisions, and then people wonder, and then now we realize why literally the Hall of Fame is where it is at.
Or where it's at least going.
Yeah, where it's going. And the NFL is following the footsteps.
Once again, hold on. By the way, hold on, CEO. There's a lot of guys left off the list that I actually want to bring your point to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my fucking God. Left off the list of this year's Hall of Fame. Who was left off the 2021 Hall of Fame? Let me see. They don't have a snub list? I know. Yeah, like a snub, like people who didn't make it.
Yeah.
Maybe you can look it up, because I can't find it.
Yeah, let's see if I can look it up real quick, because
I know Steve Smith Sr. was off of it. I know Devin Hester was off of it. I know Andre Johnson was off of it.
Wait, for 2022?
The class that is winning now. Maybe you can look it up. You're better at looking shit up than me.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, here it says.
And we're just gonna list off who would you put them in? Would you put them in, and would you say they're better than the current players that win it now? So let me get the players that I have.
All right, let's see. Okay. I'm trying to look at these because I'm looking at the list, but I feel like this list is trolling me, because Okay, for instance, it's like the biggest snubs. Okay, it says Patrick Willis isn't in.
I think. Would you put Patrick Wilson?
That's the problem. Like, if he played a couple more years, it would be like.
I wouldn't put him in. If he played a couple more years, yeah, but I wouldn't put him in.
Okay, let's see. Logan Mankins.
Who the fuck is that?
Oh, it was like a guard for. It was an elite guard for the Patriots.
Does it say his accolades?
I mean, he probably won a shit ton of Super Bowls. He was a Patriot. He probably won. He was always at the top when guards back in that era.
If he has like 8, 9 Pro Bowls, first team All Pros 5, 6 times, then yeah, sure. I mean, offensive lineman. I'm gonna be for real, guys. I'm not a CEO. Probably hates me for this. I'm not offensive lineman enthusiastic. You know what I'm saying? CEO can do that because he actually did play offensive line. So
Okay, so let me look at Logan Mankins. Let's see. Trying to see what his. Trying to see what fucking kids awards. Okay, let's see. All right, so Logan Mankins. Okay, so he made 7 Pro Bowls. He was a first team All Pro in 2010. He was a 5-time second team All Pro. Let's see. NFL's 2010's All Decade team. That's pretty much it. He only made 1 All Pro though, like first team.
No, I wouldn't put him in.
I don't know, it's hard because with the offensive line, I feel like it's harder to like gauge whether they should, because like it's hard. But anyway, what was the
I got a few lists here if you want me to read them, unless you still got your list.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. Do you want me to read one from like 2013 or some recent ones from like 2019 or some shit?
Yeah, let's go with the recent ones.
All right, recent ones. So what article is this? Is this? I'm trying to look for like the most. Okay, this was 2 years ago. This was how long ago was this? All right, here's a 2013 one. I'll get rid of that, and I'll look at one more article. Or matter of fact, the 30. Okay, that's one already got open. The 30 biggest Hall of Fame. What year was this? December 30. So this is last year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. So I'll just read all these articles. They're not going to be long. So this article was from 2019. So not that far back. All right. Oh, here's an interesting one. Here's your Jamal Lewis, the running back.
No.
You don't think he's in?
No.
Lewis was named Pro Bowl and selected only one. No. 1 season you only made the Pro Bowl.
That's what I said. No. Like people talk about Jamal Lewis, like, oh, Jamal was such a. I'm like, yeah, he was probably a good running back, but he wasn't like an elite running back.
Yeah, I mean, at that time, you're not taking him over LaDainian Tomlinson.
No. He was okay. He was good, but he wasn't great. So
Jerome Bettis, Marshall Falk, you're not taking him over those guys. Sean Alexander, no. Steve Tasker.
Who?
A special teamer.
No.
I think he was just a special teamer.
I mean, I'm very, I don't know, bro. Like
he's
I don't know.
7-time Pro Bowler, but I mean, punt and kick returner. I guess he was a punt and kick. So he basically he was a low version of Devin Hester.
Okay, then no.
He was Devin Hester before Devin Hester. Wesley Walls, tight end.
Who?
Wesley Walls, tight end.
I've never heard of them. No.
Jay Jay Hallenberg.
No, I don't even
Hallen,
know. I don't even know who the fuck that is.
5-time Pro Bowler, 7-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All Pro. He's a guard. No, he's a center. Play for the Bears. I know Jones is probably gonna fucking kill me for mispronouncing this nigga's name. If I
Listen,
was
any people that played like in the 70s, I really can't even comment on them.
oh yeah, he was in the yep, he was 85 Bears. Keith Anderson, quarterback, Cincinnati. Or Ken Anderson, my bad. Ken Anderson. 7-time Pro Bowler. Was a first. You still there? What the fuck? Oh shit.
Yeah,
What
I
happened?
don't know. Yeah, I know glitch. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, where was I? So did you hear I say Ken Anderson?
Ken Anderson. I heard that name, I think.
Cincinnati Bengals. 7-time Pro Bowler, was a first team All Pro as an NFL MVP leader. He went to the so basically he played in the he was a fucking quarterback in the 80s for the Bengals.
Okay, so he had 7 Pro Bowls.
7 Pro Bowls. Was a first team All Pro as the NFL MVP and leader of an AFC Championship game in 1981.
I don't know.
Bill Walsh played 16 years, so I mean,
Yeah, that's one of the things. Like, if it's like in the because that's one of the things that we spoke about earlier. Is like you have to have watched them
so
play.
yeah. So he's probably in that, like, just looking at like the way how they're talking about him, he looks like in like that Phillip Rivers category. And
Okay,
we had Philly, yeah.
yeah,
Dick Shawford.
What the?
He was an elite blocking guard in the 1960s. 6 Pro Bowls, 4 All Pros. So he basically blocked for Jim Brown.
Like I said, bro, I don't even know. Like, if it's too
You're the
old,
offensive line guru here because you actually play. I'm like the offensive lineman of I don't know.
in my opinion, anything that's like old as hell, like we should
Okay,
skip.
so all right, bet. Chuck Howley, linebacker for the Cowboys, 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All Pro, 1-time Super Bowl champion.
No.
No. Randy Gershifer.
Okay.
He was part of the 1970s. We're gonna skip that. Okay, all these assholes. Okay, here's one. Sterling Sharp.
No.
Shannon Sharp's brother.
Yeah,
Now, if he
no.
didn't get injured, I think he would have
Right,
got
if he didn't get injured, but as it stands now, no.
Adrian Foster.
Adrian. Oh no. He was really good, but no.
Yeah. Everin James. Indianapolis Colts.
No.
All right, Tony. This was made in 2019. Tony Burcett. He made it.
Wasn't that the Jaguars?
Yeah, he played for the Jaguars. We were just talking about him earlier. He's the one that made it in this year. But this article was made in 2019, so it's before.
Right. So he was a Jaguar. I feel like that was a pity pick. Like, I feel like they were like, all right, the Jaguars have no Hall of Famers, so we're just gonna let them in.
Wait, so let me just ask you something before we get back to the list. Would you rather put him in or Fred Taylor?
Yeah, I'll probably put him in.
Oh, Fred Taylor?
Yeah.
You think he was a better tackle than Fred Taylor was a running back?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Like, Fred Taylor has the name recognition, but if you look at it from like a more like from just a football standpoint, I would say yeah.
Didn't Terry Holt go into the Hall of Fame?
I think so.
Okay, so this was just Zach Thomas. Didn't he go in yet?
I'm not sure.
He was the one that played for the Browns, right?
I believe so. Wait.
Zach Thomas?
No, wait. I don't think no.
Oh no,
he's
he
not.
He's married to Joy Taylor.
Yeah, he's not Zach. No, we're confusing him with
The
that other Thomas that was the Browns.
Oh, Joe Thomas. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, and by the way, Joe Thomas is definitely a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. What year did he retire?
I think it was was it 2015, 16?
He retired that. I don't know, because it takes 5 years. You have to wait 5 years to get in. So if he retired in 2015, 2016, he should be in by
No, he
now.
retired, I think 2017.
So was it 18, 19, 20, 21, 20? So he should be coming up this year.
Yeah. He's definitely a Hall of Famer in my opinion.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So Zach Thomas, his longtime teammate and future brother-in-law, Jason Taylor is a close second, but Zach Thomas is undersized, proficient at tackling, marveling, has to be Dolphins top. So he went to 7 Pro Bowls, made 5-time Pro Bowls in his 12 years with Miami.
Who's that? I never heard of Zach Thomas.
I have no idea. Richard Seymour just went in. No. Cliff Branch just went in. Ooh, here's a good one. Sean Alexander.
I don't.
All right, so 3-time Pro Bowler, rushed for 9,429 yards and has 100 touchdowns and won an MVP in 2005.
Borderline.
He only played 8 seasons, but it was cut back because of injuries.
Borderline.
So borderline, so that means no.
Yeah.
Did John Lynch ever go in?
I have no idea.
I think he went in last year.
Yeah, but what was the I feel like what was the what was our second topic?
Oh, it's about where men failed us.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Well, you want to move on to that?
Yeah, I feel like we explained
All right,
our position on the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. But I think so. The Hall of Fame's a joke. Fuck the NFL and fuck Roger Goodell.
Yeah, always fuck Roger Goodell.
Yeah. But so we talk about a lot of things on the masculinity podcast. As we grow, we're probably getting more and more in these topics. But last week we talked about, should we run society with feelings over facts? We both agreed, hell no.
Right.
And we kind of got into the topic of talking about it's a majority of women who feel like this, and now they have the bigger power. But let's talk about, where did we fail as men in this society? Now, this one I really don't have a dialogue because it's kind of like a very broad topic.
Right.
But where do you feel, CEO, we failed as men?
I feel we failed as men in terms of keeping. I feel like we failed in terms of keeping
the bitches in the kitchen. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
Not in the kitchen, but I feel like we failed in keeping females in check.
Agreed.
And some people are going to hear that and they're going to think, oh, misogyny, blah blah blah. No, it's not that. It's when, here's the thing, right? Some women, what happens is, if you're not a man and you can't keep a woman in check, what she's going to do is she's going to become masculine herself. Agreed. Because you as a man have failed to live up to your role as a man and provide that masculine energy. So what happens when you can't provide that masculine energy? The female will take up that role, right?
Yep.
She'll take up that masculine role. She'll be unhappy naturally, because women are unhappy being masculine. That's a fact. Like, women are not happy being masculine. So Agreed. If a woman has to take up as a man, she has to take up your responsibility because you're failing in being a masculine man. She has to take up yours. She's gonna be aggressive. She's gonna be masculine, and she's gonna be unhappy.
Yes,
that's what happens. Because men, for example, got so caught up. They got so caught up in talking about equality They got so caught up in being scared of being called a misogynist that they failed to keep a lot of females in check. And when a lot of females are not in check, they're gonna run amok.
Draw chaos.
It's gonna be chaos. And that's not to disparage females, right? Like females
Yes.
are very important in their role as being feminine, but when females become masculine, like they hate it. Like I don't care how like strong and independent a female will claim to be.
Yeah,
When
clean.
she gets older, she's going to be bitter as fuck.
Yes.
That's just a fact. Like
How my man Kevin Samuel say it, bitter baby mama or
right,
internal seven or some shit like that.
right. She's going to be bitter. She's going to keep lying to herself about how she's so great, how she's so strong and independent. But deep down inside, she's going to feel like shit.
Yes.
And as men, we failed because we shouldn't make females feel like shit. We should play our role, our natural role as being masculine men. And when a female gets out of line, right? And what I mean by getting out of line is like being masculine. When a female thinks like, no, let me tell you something what's not natural, right? I see a lot of videos on Twitter, a lot of videos on social media where you see females going head to head with men.
Yeah.
They step up to men, they talk to men any type of way, like, and they're like, "Oh, what you gonna do, nigga? What you gonna do, nigga?" Like, get up in their face, right?
Yes.
And this is a bigger issue in the black community. I'm gonna keep than I feel like in most
I'm
other
glad you
communities.
brought it up because I was going to bring it up.
Right. This is a bigger issue where the females are masculine that they get in men's faces. I'm like, a woman should never get in a man's face. Never.
Yeah.
That should never cross your mind because that's a dangerous place to be.
Yes.
That's unless she has a strap, and most of these females don't.
Yeah.
That's a fucking horrible place to be. Is to be screaming at a man's face, challenging him, talking shit to him so he can square up. That's like, why are you doing that? Is so unnatural.
Yes.
Like the moment, like, why doesn't it cross her mind as the female that, you know what, I'm speaking shit to this guy, I'm getting in his face, I'm spitting all over his face, screaming at him. Like, she doesn't cross her mind that some dudes might just smack the shit out of her.
No, and I'll tell you why as soon as you're done.
All right, go ahead.
Where you like finished?
Yeah, I'm finished. Go ahead.
I'm glad you brought that up, CEO, because I was gonna bring up the black part. So, and I'm pretty sure you know this. In the 1980s,
Mm-hmm.
the crack pandemic happened, or crack.
Right.
The shit where a lot of black men
Yeah.
specifically were being arrested, whether justified or unjustified,
Mm-hmm.
which was taking a lot of black men out of their homes, a lot of black fathers out of the home.
Right.
And then and when the black father left, the white feminists came in and said, "You don't need him. You're a strong, independent black woman. You don't need no fucking man." And now we're in 2022 where you have these young boys who are around these masculine mothers who think they could be mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
So when they have a female screaming in their face, they're like, "Oh, I'm used to it. My mom used to do this to me. This is normal."
Right.
And that's the fucking problem. Listen, this goes beyond. This started, and I'm specifically talking about black families, but this is happening worldwide now. But now they're starting to degrade the father.
Mm-hmm.
And once you degrade the father,
Mm-hmm.
you have young children.
Right.
The young girls are gonna be like, "Well, my mom raised me and my other siblings. I don't need no fucking man. The only thing I need a man for is just to get me pregnant. I can just screw them aside, put them in the child support system,
Right.
and I don't need them." And then these young boys are like, "Well, women are so great. They're God.
Right.
I'm mama's boy." And that's the worst thing. Fucking mama's boys. Oh my God. And listen, mothers are great, no doubt about it. But mama's boys, don't even get me started. That could be a whole other topic. But now you have these dudes who accept whatever women do. A woman screaming in your face. You don't think that's abnormal. You don't think that's abnormal. You just like, "Oh, my mom used to do this to me all the time," or "My sisters used to do this to me all the time."
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's the fucking problem. See, back in the day when we actually had fathers, like like a prime example. See, you have a family. I have a family. You'll be with your mom acting the fool. What's the one thing she would say to you? I'm gonna tell your fucking father.
Correct.
That shuts it down. Now, when you
Mhm.
don't have that, now you have all these kids acting a fool. Who are you gonna tell? They're not listening because there comes a point, and CEO, we both know this, and God rest my mom's soul. But there was a point where, like, specifically young boys, we got taller, bigger, stronger than our moms. We didn't fear her,
Right.
but dad was still bigger. Our dad built in that fear, not like a fear as in he's gonna whoop our ass. Our fear is in like that's my father, that's the head of the household. I'm
Right.
always gonna fucking respect him to the day he dies or to the day I die.
Right.
We don't have that anymore. So that's why all this chaos goes
Right.
along. And that's where men fail. We should have the feminist
Right.
movement should never fucking happen.
Right.
We should have said, okay,
Yeah.
you guys can vote and shit, but to sit here and say you're more important than men, that's bullshit.
Right. And here's the thing.
But do you agree
In
with what I'm
terms
saying?
of,
Or do you have anything you like want to add or whatever?
yeah, I wanted to add something because
Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to add to where you were talking about like, oh, a lot of single mothers don't have like they can't call dad, right?
Yeah.
So what do they do? What do they have to do? They have to be masculine. They have to scream.
Yes.
They have to whoop. They have to get a belt or whatever. They have to do whatever it takes so they can get it, especially with boys.
Yeah.
So they can get it into that boy's mind that you have to fear me.
Yeah.
Because she knows deep down that if she can't control that kid and he becomes 12, 13 years old, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
That and I understand the woman's fear, and that's why you get a lot of these masculine women.
Yeah.
A lot of these single mothers are masculine because they have to be to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Because if they're just nice and their kid runs roughshod over them, the kid's probably going to beat the shit out of her when he's 13.
Yeah.
And he's going to end up on fucking Dr. Phil or one of those boot camp videos or some shit. Like
Prime example of Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Bell, right? So there needs to be a father in the household, and this whole societal thing where it's like, oh, like strong, independent single mothers. No, being a single mother should be something that society should shame.
That's a whole fact. I mean, like like who wants to be like it's like back in the day being a single. Usually now, let's be for real, CEO. We keep it real here on the Masculine Podcast. Majority of single mothers want to be single mothers because they either got sick and tired of the nigga did something to them, something
Right.
along those lines, or
Right.
unfortunately. Or sometimes the father passed. But back like 20, 30, 40 years ago, if you were a single mother, usually you were married and something unfortunate happened to your husband.
Right.
So you were forced to be. It's very unfortunate.
Right.
But
Like,
now it's glorified.
yeah, it's glorified, and
It's like pushed now. They have articles. BLM's putting out articles. The two myth parent. I forgot the two myth parent thing where you only need you like they put out an article
yeah,
saying
where they're basically saying that the nuclear family is a myth. You don't need to have a mother and a father.
yeah, they put out like a thing saying, "Oh, the you need to build a great family with the mother, the child, and the parents." And by parents, they're not talking about a mother and a father. They're talking about like a gay couple. But
Right.
they're
And,
missing a
and
key word there, though.
yeah, we're gonna get into that, and that's probably gonna be controversial, but we're definitely gonna get into that
Yeah.
topic with the whole with homosexuals community and raising children. Um,
Ooh,
but
ooh, that might put us on the scene. But go ahead.
but before we get to that, right, and not only should we shame single mothers, we should also shame fathers who have like 5 different baby mamas. We should definitely shame them equally.
We should
I'm a,
shame.
mhm.
Yes, I agree. But we should also shame the men. You should not be impregnated a female. You can't sit down
Right,
and marry.
right, exactly. Like there's this culture, and again, it's a perpetual cycle, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of these guys who have like all these different baby mamas, most of the time they grew up in a single mother household.
Yeah. So they were used to it.
They're used to it. They think it's normal. There was no father to sit them down and be like, you have to be responsible with your dick. You can't go around fucking random women because you find them to be like attractive, or even if they're not attractive, you just want to get your rocks off. You can't do that because if you
Yeah.
have a kid with her, you can't just not be with her because you have to, that kid has to be that kid has to grow up in a stable household.
Agreed. But
So
now, but once again, it's glorified now.
right, yeah, we
Like,
have right,
what?
and a lot of these articles that are glorifying, like, and it's not like, for example, back in the day, the black community, like the marriage rates were high as fuck, right?
Yeah. I
Now
don't.
it's not. Now it's abysmal,
My
right?
man Kevin Samuelson was like 80%. Now
Right.
it's down to like 20
Now it's
something.
abysmal. The problem is right there is the combination of two things, right?
Yeah.
You have white feminists, right, like you said,
Yeah.
pushing their propaganda onto the black community. That's one.
Yeah. Or the white liberals, to be
The
honest.
white liberals, right? Number two, you have the welfare state,
Yep.
and the welfare state should not exist, and this is why it shouldn't exist, right?
Yeah.
When, or at least not to the degree it does right now.
Yeah.
So the welfare state should exist as a safety net in terms of like, okay, you're down, we'll support you for like a year or two until you get back up on your feet. But it shouldn't be perpetual, because what happens when the welfare state stays forever, the woman can have 5 different babies and get paid by the government. She's going to get an apartment from the government, right?
Yep.
She's going to get paid. She's going to have child support forced by the government.
Yes.
So all this, it's like there's sometimes where the females can get more from the government than they can from just settling down with that one guy.
Yeah.
So there's no incentive for the woman to basically settle down, pick the right guy, and have a proper family.
Yeah.
So the government basically screws, and this happens in a lot of poorer communities. The government screws families over by implementing the system where a lot of women, they're taking the responsibility away from both the man and women of starting a family. They're taking that responsibility. So when you take that responsibility away, what happens? Chaos.
Yeah.
So so mixed with the welfare state, you have a lot of these, and I know we were talking about like black men and all that, but white men need to get their bitches together too, because they have the same problem in terms of, maybe they have the same problem where they don't keep their bitches in check,
Yeah.
but theirs might be different. They might get married more than black people. Their family life is more stable, but but in like the white liberal household, the woman still runs the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
So when we look at all these factors, you can see why men have failed, because ultimately the responsibility does fall on men. Why? Because at the end of the day, men had all the power. That's one.
Yep.
Men decided to let this happen, because if men didn't want this to happen, it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's not like we can blame sometimes a lot of men get into like the habit, we blame females because we're men, we view it from our perspective, right?
Yeah.
But we can't take away the responsibility that we had in this disaster, and that's basically is we as men didn't keep the women in check, and we didn't keep the household together because we as men thought we were being misogynistic. We thought we were being oppressive. We thought that letting just like women do whatever the fuck they want was the correct approach. And honestly, it's not the correct approach. Just look
Yeah.
at society.
Yeah. But honestly, you want to be? We failed because we told women you're equal to us.
Right.
We like the white female, because let's just be for real. See, women are not good at creating. It's just a fact. When you look at statues, monuments, buildings, society, it was built on the backs and hands of men. That's just a fact. That is a whole fact. We
Women,
told wait.
no, women are motivators, men are creators.
Yeah, facts. But the simple fact that we told them they're equal to us, they can do what we do, That's what started, because let's be real, the white feminist came from the white liberal man. They told the white feminist, oh, you're equal to us. You're not equal to us. We do different things just like you do different things. We're just the more dominant species. That's okay though. You're supposed to be in the back of us helping us. Like we build a house, we give you a seed, you're there to help the family.
Here, here's right. Women are equal in value, but they're not equal in responsibility, right? So they're not men and women are not equal in
Yeah,
terms of their skills,
yeah,
in terms of their characteristics, both physically, sometimes mentally.
yeah. A lot
They
mental.
serve different purposes, right?
Way
Right.
two different
So
purposes.
when I say men and women are equal, I'm referring to that women are equal in value, meaning they're just as important to a stable household.
Yes.
Right. Women are just as equal as men in that respect. Now, obviously, they're not equal to men in physical stature or other things like that. But just like men aren't equal to women in being nurturing, right?
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of things that women do better than men. There are a lot of things that men do better than women.
Yeah.
We're kind of two halves of a circle.
Yeah, basically now we're telling women you should be more masculine. We're telling men to be more feminine.
Right. And first, that like at the end of the day, that's still masculine and feminine, which is fucking ironic as fuck, right? Because they basically want to get away from the stereotype, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, men, but at the end of the day, they still want a masculine and they still want a feminine, right?
Yeah,
Now,
is it really a stereotype or is it the truth?
no, it's the truth. Like, we need a masculine, we need a feminine, right?
No, but
It's
my
just
point is like people get like, okay, prime example. Wait, hold on, go, because I was gonna go into a whole different thing. But what were you about to say before that? Because I don't want to forget your thought.
no, that's it. I was about to say, go ahead.
Like people got mad at Cam Newton for saying, "I want a woman who can cook, clean, and know
Mhm.
her role."
Right,
That's the stereotype. Well,
right.
no, I mean, but it's like, dude, but that's what most men want.
Yes.
But that's a stereotype, though. Is that really? But like back when society was like that, we were
Mhm.
better. We were marrying
All
more.
right,
We had better children. We had less single mothers.
all right.
With less
Yeah,
violence, specifically in the black community.
right.
Now that we have the opposite of
Mhm.
what Cam Newton says, look
Right.
at us now.
Yeah, Cam Newton got burned for saying that because he said if a woman said exactly what Cam did, like, "Oh, I want a man who can build and I don't know, take out the garbage and knows his role."
Yeah,
If the same, it wouldn't be that would it wouldn't exist. That same reaction wouldn't exist, right?
yeah,
So this is what I'm saying because women, here we go. Women, a lot of modern day women don't like to be told, "Hey, this is your role, right?
yeah,
Hey, this is what you're biologically meant to do." No, they don't like that. They want to decide their own fates. That's fine. You can decide we live in a free country. You can decide your own fate. But don't when you're bitter, when you're 50 years old and bitter, just look back at your life and reevaluate and understand that when females get away from doing what they know how to do best naturally, and this goes the same for men,
yeah.
you're not going to be happy.
But can I just ask you something, CEO?
Yeah, go ahead.
And you brought up a good point. Men who are single at 50, are there more men that are depressed at 50 single, or more women are depressed at 50 single?
Oh, women hands down.
Because let's just be for real, the woman, and I know this is, and I know you're not like, I'm not trying to put any assumptions, but I know you said you're like not like a big Bible guy, but
Right.
it says itself that the woman was put here for the man. But when you look at a man who's 50 years old, as long as he has money, he's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
He can still have kids. If he's not
Right.
like, unless there's like something medically wrong with him, he can still have kids. A woman at 50 years old, and she can have uh, the highest college degree, be like the biggest doctor, she'll still be
Mm-hmm.
better because she doesn't have a kid or family. Now she can't have a fucking kid because
Right.
she's 50. That's just life.
Right. And I don't even in terms of I'm not like the biggest biblical guy, right?
Yeah.
But But in terms of, and you don't even have to look at it from a biblical standpoint because men and women are created for each other from a biological standpoint as well.
Yeah,
Like,
I just look at it through that because I'm a big, biblical guy. But go ahead.
right? No, I'm just saying you can look at it from both ways actually,
Yeah,
because both of them, like men and women, are created for each other. That's period. There is nothing that any scientist or whatever or sociologist or gender studies major, there's nothing no one can say that would make that untrue. Like women and men are made for each other.
yeah.
That's why if that wasn't the case, then men can reproduce with men, women can reproduce with women.
Well, no, men can get pregnant now, CEO.
Oh yeah, I forgot men could get pregnant. Yeah.
That's why they have that pregnant man emoji.
My God, bro. Like,
Oh yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Like one of my coworkers, and shout out, and he is subscribed to me. I don't know if he watches, but shout out to you, bro. You know who I'm talking about. I'm not gonna put your name out there, but he was talking about. I guess this is this theory, keyword theory, that woman can get pregnant from a bone of a female rat.
what?
Like I guess there's like I don't know what he was saying, but I kind of looked it up. But he's saying like female can get pregnant from like from the bone of a female rat, something along those. It's a theory.
Okay.
But I mean, once again, it's a theory and it has been proven, and it's not. And let's be for real, even if it is true, that's not sustainable.
Boy, he's saying females can get pregnant by sticking a rat bone up their vagina.
Something along those lines.
What in the fuck?
It's a theory. It's not proven, but it's a theory.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely throwing that theory out in the trash.
But even if it's real, that's not sustainable at all.
No, I mean, first of all, is it? I would assume that's bestiality. By the way,
Yeah, you basically have to fucking kill a female rat. And
right? I mean, what are you gonna do? Give birth to Master Splinter or some shit? Like, what the fuck is it? Anyway, we all know that whatever that is, that's never gonna become the norm. So,
but even if you look up articles from it, but I looked up an article from like 2000. Now it's like there's like a few articles about it, so I'm assuming it's not like everybody fucking knows it's not realistic. Even the most masculine female can say that's fucking not realistic. But I guess like it's like there's like a 2007 article. If this is true, are men irrelevant? So
okay, so is the rat bone gonna pay child support as well? Like how is that gonna work?
Is it gonna build a house? Is it gonna fight off the? Is it gonna fucking fight off the? If there's like a guy coming in, like if there's like burglars coming in, is it gonna fight off the burglars while you and the fucking kids leave?
Right, and I'm assuming your kid probably has all. If you got pregnant, if you managed to get pregnant by sticking a rat bone up your vagina, by God knows how that fucking works, your kid's probably gonna end up retarded. I'm just gonna.
Basically, but my point is that listen, there's no listen. At the end of the day, listen. As going back to the original point, men, we need to stand up now. We don't need to go to war with females. We need to basically say, listen, this is our standard. This is what needs to happen. If you don't like it, go over there. And for all the men who don't like it, if you want to be a simp, if you want to be a Will Smith protege, go over there too. The real men and the real women who want to build a fruitful society, we're going to come over here and we're going to recreate, and we'll check up on you in the next 20 years. And let's see what group is doing better.
Shit. By the way, those women don't respect those kind of men. Like, just instinctually don't respect them.
But once again, even if that, and I agree with you. But prime example, I said Will Smith. Look at Jada now.
Yeah,
but even like that, CEO, the woman will be like, I can't live like this. And some of them will probably submit and say, what do I have to do to get in this group? Like, you say, all right, you have to do this and a third. Any blow ups or anything like that, you're going back over there. And they'll submit.
Yeah, going to the Will Smith thing, it's kind of like, it's funny because Will Smith tried to like, oh, I want to understand her, and blah blah blah. I'm like, no. If you would have told her, listen, bitch, I'm Will Smith, all right. You can get the fuck out of here if you don't like it, and you're gonna do shit my way or get the fuck out.
Yeah, because aren't the kids older now?
Yeah, I mean they're older, but he could have said that either way.
But once again, he's like she snipped his balls.
No, right. That's what I'm saying. But if he did that, right? If he did the quote unquote misogynist thing, right?
Yeah.
Was tell her to get in line, she would have respected him a lot more than she does now.
Yeah, or she would have left. But either way, that's a win-win for Will Smith. The current way he is now, you saw that bullshit ass apology that you said to Chris Rock.
Yeah, I think he might be like something might be wrong with him, like mentally.
Yeah, there's something definitely mentally
Like
wrong.
he has that like crazy eye stare or some shit. Something wrong with that nigga. Like
Yeah, man. I think maybe all of them fucking. I don't know, but but even that, like someone like, dude, it's like it like boggles my mind. But once again, just the failure of men. It boggles my mind that Jada went on public TV and said that she cheated on him and that he will never be Tupac, and he's sitting there crying. People made memes about that. But then the same woman who were laughing at him, and then he got up and slapped Chris Rock, embarrassing himself, embarrassing the Oscars. Like, does
right.
anybody even remember he won an Oscar for King Richard, which was a great? Well, you know what the irony is, King Richard, Serena Williams' father, was a masculine, patriarchal man who helped the fucking Williams sisters to how they are now. You play that fucking role, and you do the complete opposite at the Oscars, ruin the credibility of it. No one's talking about that great movie, and it's like, dude, and then, but like these same films are like, oh, if I don't have a man that does what Will Smith does, then I don't want him. Like, well, are you gonna cheat on the man that you want Will Smith to be with him too?
Yeah, and like what they want. Wait, was the woman were praising Will Smith, right?
Yes, when it first happened. Yes, when it
Right.
first
So basically, they're not strong enough. They're not strong and independent enough to go and slap Chris Rock themselves. Is that what I'm hearing?
yeah, but once, yeah.
They need men to go physically assault another man for them.
Yeah, I don't know why we're not stronger than women. So
Right. Exactly. We're all equally like we're equal physically and all that. So
yeah, Jada should have took her cane looking ass over there and smacked him.
I mean, shit. Like, I understand. Like Chris Rock. Like, let's be honest. Chris Rock never did anything because that nigga's like 5'2", skinny as shit.
Dude's like 5'6", probably weighs 130 like
30
me.
pounds, right? That nigga, like, if he probably would have got his ass kicked. Like, so
By
I'm
Will
not
Smith.
out. Like, he couldn't do shit even if he wanted to.
What are you talking about? By Will Smith or Jada?
No, Will Smith go and attack Will Smith
Yeah.
because I feel like if you did that like Dave Chappelle, he might have smacked you, might have
Oh,
beat the
Dave
shit out
Chappelle's
of him.
like 6'2", diesel shit.
He
He
would have beat the
wouldn't
shit
do that
out of
to me.
him. He would have
Or
beat the
The
shit out
Rock?
of him.
Or The Rock? Oh god,
Yeah, they would have beat the shit out of him.
that's a fact.
Right, but he did it to little Chris Rock because what the fuck is Chris Rock gonna do?
Wait, do you think he would have done that to Steve Harvey?
No, no.
Steve
He
Harvey is kind of fat and
Yeah, he is, but I feel like why people were so upset with that, it's like Will kind of bullied Chris Rock because Chris Rock is a small man.
yeah,
He wasn't gonna do anything. So basically he basically bullied him like in front of the whole world.
yeah.
So that's why, but he wouldn't have the balls to do that to Dave Chappelle. He wouldn't have done that, and I doubt Dave Chappelle would have took it.
He would not do that to Dave Chappelle. He wouldn't do that to
He probably would have threw the mic at his head or some shit.
He wouldn't do that to The Rock, most definitely. You said no to Steve Harvey. You think he would have done it to Kevin Hart?
Fuck yeah, he would have slapped. He wouldn't have slapped him. Probably would have kicked him.
Who else is a comedian? I don't know.
Will Smith comes across as the dude that wouldn't do that to anybody that's similar in size.
You don't think he's doing that to Bernie Mac or Patrice?
Not to Patrice. Patrice wouldn't no, not to Patrice.
What about Bernie Mac? I think Bernie Mac will lay his ass out.
Yeah, he would. No, he wouldn't do that to either of them. He would not either of them. He'll only do that to Chris Rock. He'll do that to the Kevin Hart. He'll do that. I don't know. Maybe Eddie Murphy. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see it. Maybe Bill Cosby too. Back if Bill Cosby was before
Right.
Bill Cosby.
Right.
But but that's my point. Is that look at let's be for real. Jada's the masculine, Will is the feminine,
Right.
and you see how dysfunctional it is.
Right.
Or I'll even take it a step further. I know this is gonna piss a lot of people off. Dwayne Wade's the feminine, Gabrielle Union's the masculine. Look at their fucking family.
Right. It's fucked up.
And the failure goes on Dwayne Wade for letting this bitch come in and make his son into a fucking fag. And he should have been, no, this is my fucking son. I didn't even create with you. He's gonna do what I fucking want him to do. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. You're a D-list fucking celebrity. I'm a fucking NBA champion, future Hall of Famer. I'm set for life. You either get with the program or you get out.
Right.
But
yeah, he made his own bed.
They both did. But once again, it just comes back to the point. And I know Will Smith had did Will Smith have a father?
Yeah, I'm assuming he did.
Yeah, and then Dwayne Wade, did he have a father too?
Dwayne, I'm not 100% sure if they had fathers, to be honest with you.
But I mean, besides those points, but once again, we have a lot of dudes out here who just don't have that masculine principle, and they'll look at it and just be like, oh, well, my mom did this to this guy and did this to that guy, and she yelled at me and beat me, so it's okay for the woman that I date to do that. And it's like, no, that's not a healthy relationship. And number two, that's no way a healthy relationship to build a family around.
Right.
Like, that's toxic.
Exactly.
And it's like, when you look at, I don't know, fucking, I don't know, who's a good example? Oh, matter of fact, Sia, let me put it, since we're talking about men.
All right.
And Sia, say like you got a daughter, right?
All right. Real quick, though.
Go ahead.
So in interviews, Wade talked about his difficulties of early childhood. His mother was on drugs, and he was surrounded by gang influence. His mother used heroin, and the police raided their home when he was 6. His mother ended up in and out of prison until 2003. So, and I don't think the father was there. So I think that
they're not
explains a lot.
mentioning him, and it looks like he didn't have a mother.
Yeah, masculine mother, in and out of jail.
Well, what year did she get arrested?
I think she was in and out of jail in 2003.
So basically, because he came in the league in 2004. So he was based. So he didn't have a mother or father. And look how he fucking turned out.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, he mother was on heroin. Dad probably wasn't in the picture.
Yeah.
So it made sense.
Yeah. So, but or do you want to look at Will Smith, or do you want me to continue with?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Would you want your daughter to date a Russell Wilson or a Future?
Russell Wilson, obviously.
And why is that?
Because why would I want Future like bangs women, disses them in rap songs, and then bangs another woman and repeats the same process? Like what?
Yeah.
Like, so basically, not only is your grandchild going to grow up as a single, basically, he's going to grow up as in a single parent household.
Yeah.
But he's also going to have to hear about his dad's music talking about how he's fucked his mom a million ways on Saturday and then dumped her the next day.
And left him, basically.
And left him and to get another white bitch. No, that's just, no sane person would want Future to be their daughter's partner.
I agree. But you see how society is that I saw an interview, I don't know how many weeks ago this was, or there was like this, I don't know who was in the interview. It was just like one of these like black talk shows on YouTube or whatever. I saw a clip that said there was this guy, he was sitting there, would you want your daughter to date a Russell Wilson or a Future? He said, nope, I want her to date a Future. And everybody's like, why?
What?
He said, because Future, he's a baller. He's like, Russell Wilson's too soft and all this other stuff like that. I'm like, and then they were like, bro, you do realize Future has like multiple baby daddies. Right. Dude is out here promoting drugs, violence, doing all this crazy shit. Russell Wilson's just a quarterback, He took in Sierra and took in another kid that he doesn't have to. And if you look at now, Russell Wilson does have some simpish in him. We can agree to that.
Yeah, he definitely has.
But I mean, when you look at their family, I mean, it's looks now we don't from the outside looking in, it looks fine.
I mean, it looks, yeah.
looks presentable. Now, when their fucking kids get older, and then their son turns out to be Zion Wade, then okay, maybe we'll reassess. But for right now, in 2022,
Right.
August 7th, 2022, it looks fine.
Right.
So it's like, why would you want a Future over a Russell Wilson?
I mean, there's no logic to it.
I feel like it's because Russell Wilson's like, let's be for real, he's not like a gangster, like he's kind of like a nerdish type guy.
Right. I
And
mean, but the problem, it's not even that he's a nerd. It's just that he comes across as like a simp. That's the problem. Like, he comes across as someone who would let his wife do whatever she wants.
yeah,
He
it
comes.
kind of does look like that. Yeah,
I'm not saying he allows that. I'm just saying it comes across as he's someone that because a lot of people look at it like this, right?
yeah,
A lot of men were like, Russell Wilson, you're an NFL quarterback. You're one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You got a shit ton of money,
yeah,
and you decided to pick up futures droppings.
yeah,
So not only did you decide to pick up futures leftovers, but you also basically took in his kid.
yeah,
So a lot of men aren't. That doesn't sit well with him
yeah.
because I feel like a lot of men are like, why would you? If I had that money, if I had that, I wouldn't. Why would I settle for Sierra when I could get me a fresh woman, not a woman who's been used as much as Sierra? So
I
I
mean,
think.
but at the same time, this is Sierra. Like, I mean,
I
Sierra
mean, I
doesn't
don't.
know Russell Wilson. Like, she's probably taking care of those kids with her own fucking money.
Right, exactly. Right. She has her own money and all that. But I'm talking about like how a lot of men view it, right?
Yeah,
And a lot of women view it the same way, like but in a positive way. A lot of women view it like, oh, look how I can get a rich man like Russell Wilson
no, you can't. No, you
who
can't.
who can take in all my kids from another man
And
and
they'll
all that
feed them
shit.
all McDonald's. They'll feed them all McDonald's.
All of the McDonald's, right? Like
No,
that. So I'm like, no, like both of that scenario is so unrealistic. Like you mentioned, Sierra could have financed her children all by herself without a problem.
yeah,
So her marrying Russell Wilson was just more was like the cherry on top. It was just more money. So it's not the same position because a lot of these women who have a lot of different kids by different men are broke.
yeah.
They're not
Facts.
wealthy. They're not got money. They're looking for someone to save them. I don't think.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. Russell Wilson, like when you look at Russell, if you're in Russell Wilson's perspective, Sierra is a millionaire, gorgeous, fucking in shape woman. Okay, yeah,
Right.
she has Future's kid. Okay, fine. We know the story, but at the same time, I mean, that's fucking Sierra, the baby mama from Project 6. No,
Right.
probably overweight. Doesn't look nothing like Sierra. Doesn't have Sierra's money, and probably has
Right.
like 3, 4, 5 kids by
Right.
3, 4 different baby daddies.
Right.
So it's like Sierra is in a very, very, very small minority.
Correct. Very
Not even
small.
just as yeah, just as alone as a fucking woman, she's in a small minority.
Right.
Like no, but let's be for real, CEO. Like if Sierra went to the hood and said, "I want you to be my, I want you to be my stepfather," men will probably be like, "Yeah." Do you honestly think Russell Wilson will go to the hood and look at a baby mama of 3 kids and say, "I want you to be my"?
Absolutely not.
No,
No.
like there's a difference.
Right. There is a difference.
But but just going back to the whole men point, but my point is that we look at someone like a Russell Wilson, and I'm saying, and now I don't know, Russell Wilson kind of gives me those Dwayne Wade vibes. I'm not going to say he is Dwayne Wade. I kind of want to wait and see.
Right.
But at this point in time, Russell Wilson is just a better man than Future. And I love Future. I love his music. I love his memes and, what he says. But at the same time, I don't want my daughter dating that nigga.
Right. I agree.
Like I want her to date a Russell Wilson who's has a good head on his shoulders, seems like a good guy. Like what's like why is that such a controversial take now?
Right.
Because men have fallen off. Because once again, going back to the absence of fathers, like Russell Wilson's like the prototypical type father. And then we don't have that in the black community anymore. And then we look at people like a Future who's, let's be real, that's who the baby mom, that's who their mom's dealing with, is someone like a Future who's in and out of the house, always fighting with them and stuff like that. We're like, that's the normal man. No, that's not the normal man. That's a toxic man.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they look up to the wrong people. That's the problem.
And that's another thing. We also need men to, I'm gonna speak for me personally. I always looked up to my pops. I didn't look up to LeBron or Future or even Russell Wilson. I always looked up to my pops. And my pops always said, listen, these guys are just entertainers. They shit like you. They bleed like you. They're flawed just like you. Don't be confused because they can shoot the ball from 30 feet. They can dunk the ball from 30 feet. They can hit it out the park, or they can throw it down the field 90 yards.
Right.
They're just as flawed as you.
Right.
But now it's like we don't have that masculine father figure in the household. So now kids look up to these idiots on TV or these idiots on the radio, and they're like, we need to be like these guys.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, man, it's time to stand up.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree.
But is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
All right, well, I have nothing else to add. It's good to see CEO back. Don't run out of Q-tips again, bro.
Man, fuck out of here.
Oh, by the way, CEO, I might have to, you whooped on TRL, you whooped on YTC, I might have to come for your 2K title.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
I'm 15-6 right now. About to go to, I think, junior varsity. Yeah. I'm cooking niggas. Let me tell you something. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like Xbox people are more harder to play than fucking PlayStation people.
I don't know. I haven't played an Xbox, so I wouldn't know.
Like, for some reason, like, the Xbox people, they actually, like, play real, like, basketball, where I have to do all these adjustments. Like, PlayStation people, it's like, they're, like, just kind of, like, like, they're not, like, playing, like, actual basketball, like, for some reason.
Yeah, that's weird. I play 2K, but not so much online, so I probably wouldn't know.
Yeah, but I'm going to let you know. I'm going to see how the controls go. I'm trying to see how higher up I can play these people, but I'm smoking people right now. I might have to smoke your bitch ass soon.
Nah, you ain't smoking shit. I'm the undisputed champion. It will remain.
So if me and you were to play, what team would you pick?
Probably like the Hornets or something.
You gonna pick the Hornets?
Yeah.
With LaMelo. This is what you picking?
Yeah, I'll probably cook you with that.
Well, listen. See, so would you be mad if I picked the Lakers?
No, not really. No.
I'll cook you with the Lakers.
All right, you can
I've been smacking niggas with the fucking Lakers, but you better pick a better fucking team.
No, you could try shit. You could try to. I'm locking you up with Melo.
Yeah, good. Wait, hold on. Can you? I never played online, like with like friends. Can you actually pick like other teams, like the 2013 Heat or like some shit like that?
I don't think so. I never got that option when I played.
All right, bro. I'm cooking you. I might use the fucking Orlando Magic on your bitch ass.
That would be a horrible decision.
I'll just cook you with who's on the Magic? I don't fucking who's that guy that went against the COVID protocols on the Orlando Magic?
Jonathan Isaac?
Yeah, I'm gonna cook you with Jonathan Isaac. How's that make you feel, CEO, if I cook you with Jonathan Isaac?
You ain't cooking me with no Jonathan Isaac. Nah. Like anytime you're ready to play, I'm good.
Yeah, facts. But nice having you back, bro. This is the end of the Masculine podcast. I'm gonna download it right now and then probably render it tomorrow because it's gonna take fucking hours for it to fucking run. So it should be up on Sunday, if not Monday. But I'm aiming for Sunday when I get back home.
All right,
but that's it. Peace out, y'all.
All right, peace out.